the best thing I felt was to go in for collaboration.
Like 10 projects into 5-5. Let's get 5-5. Let's get all 10.
Yeah. And then later on getting a call, this didn't work out, this messed up here. I'm like, yeah, that's the reason we spent 5 years.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of my podcast. With a family background in construction, Miss Sakshi Oswal started early right after she completed her degree in architecture in 2018. When she was still figuring out her niche, she started working on commercial buildings and residential schemes. While she loved doing that, it was her experience with an architecture firm that helped her find her niche and encouraged her to start her own design studio. तब शुरुआत हुई the Designn Brew की, and तब से लेकर अब तक she has brought to life the vision of many people by designing their spaces. तो आइए start करते हैं हमारी conversation with Miss Sakshi.
When did you start this firm? What is the background? What did you study and when did you start it?
So I completed my architecture in 2018. And once I completed my architecture, I took 6 months break because I was very confused, like half of the architecture students, that how should I find my niche? So I completed my father is a builder basically, and yeah. So the plan was always to join him, in doing commercial buildings and residential schemes and everything. So I did my internship also in such firm, which was majorly a commercial and residential scheme, which I loved it. Like I really liked it and I was very good at it and I enjoyed my internship a lot and I realized I'm very good at it also. But once I did my thesis, I realized I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I don't think I am that kind of an architect who can sit with a calculator and, do FSIs and everything. Though I am very good at it and I can fit schemes very well. But I just didn't have that peace of mind that I could do it. So I took a 6 months break and there were also some personal commitments which I had to complete it. So I did it. And after that, I thought that I'll give myself 3 years. I'll take a formal experience in 3 years and then decide whether I should go for masters or start with my own firm.
Sure.
But the plan was always to start my own practice eventually. So I thought that after taking formal experience, it would help me better to get a better view that where I want to be in life.
Sure.
So I started with a landscape firm. I worked in a landscape firm for a year. And then I decided that let's go for an architectural firm because landscape firm is like a too much in niche
It's very
space.
niche.
So yeah, after that I joined an architecture studio.
Okay.
So that studio used to do only design based projects. So be it even if there are government projects or bungalow projects, they will be very design based and very customized as per client's need with interiors, end to end services, which will include interiors, architecture, landscape, whatever there is.
Sure.
So I worked there for 2.5 years and then I realized, okay, this is what I want to do now. So once I graduated, obviously there were roadblocks like lockdowns, back-to-back lockdowns happening and everything. And that was the time I got maximum to reflect on myself because luckily I had a lot of work in lockdown also in that firm.
Okay.
So I used to work from home and that is the time I developed a passion where I realized that I want to do end-to-end services, design studio, an architectural studio where there will be customized service as per needs. So that's when the Designn Brew came into the picture. So it was like we brew spaces according to the client's needs, functions, wants, everything. So I decided that I will go forward with this where there will be only projects where it's very personal. So what I decided was I'll start with bungalows, interiors, and then let's see what kind. And initially it's like, how it is like. You have to also wait for what kind of projects come your way.
Right.
But I was lucky enough, as soon as I graduated, I started getting, as soon as I started again after lockdown, I started getting projects. So that is how Designn Brew started basically.
Okay.
So the main idea of Designn Brew was this, that we will brew spaces as per functionality and obviously form will follow the function later.
That's a great story. I think you always had a plan, and though you took a break, it was all very meaningful, and I'm glad how it worked out. We've checked your profile. I've personally seen your profile many times, and we really like the work that.
Okay, now let's talk about the Elite Studio.
So Elite Studio was a client came to me and he was like, "He, I have the studio. I have the space. Actually, it was like a shop, bare shell shop, where he was like, "Hey, I want to open something. I'm into fitness and I want to open some kind of a studio, but I don't want to keep it just for me because I will be taking it only in the early morning hours, and then the rest of the day the space will be empty. So let's come up with something." So it was a 800 square feet of a space, roughly. And we were like, I was really trying to understand his requirements and what does he want to do. And
Hmm.
through a lot of brainstorming, we came down to a thing where we will open a multi-purpose studio. So it's like a content creators pad kind of a place where were going to be different activities during morning hours. There were going to be
Hmm.
fitness classes. So first like till 12 p.m. there were fitness. From 12 to 4 there were workshops, various workshops going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Plus it's in the heart of the city. There is no space in Pune, the heart of the
Hmm.
city, where
Sure.
content creators can shoot and everything. So they wanted a place where content creators can come and do their shoots if they want to do.
Sure.
And during evening spaces, they wanted to rent it out if someone needs some place for dance rehearsals or some small parties or something like that, Diwali party, ye wo, like that. So this is how he wanted it, and I was like, there is a lot of activities in one space going on. Like you're doing meditation, you're working out, and then you're doing party in one space. So the major thing what I thought was like it has to be very minimal, very simple. Yet it has to have that element that if you're having a party, it should be like amazingly lit and everything. But also when you're meditating, you have to feel very calm there. So we came up with this concept of five elements. If you see Elite Studio, there are just three walls, and I had to play in it. We used five elements in it. If you see the flooring, it's wooden flooring. One wall was only glass, so it was like a water element, a lot of reflectivity, also infinity. Other wall was the texture, if you see overall, is like earthy texture. And then we used a very subtle wallpaper with blue tones in it, and it had
Hmm.
small. You cannot see it with bare eyes, but if you go into that studio, you will see that in that wallpaper, in that blue thing, there are a few plants which are very faded. And then there was this main wall, which was adding a royalty to the space, and that was completely olive green with metallic finishes, which was giving that royal touch, yet it was very subtle. So the best part was when the client said, "Lakshmi Pujan idhar kar sakte kya?" And it was like 1st October, and sorry, around 25th September, and 12th October was Lakshmi Pujan Day. And I was like, okay, it's a challenge to complete in 25 days, but let's start with it. Let's see how can we do it. And we handed over the site in just 21 days. We gave them 4 days buffer for whatever they want to do. And that was one of the biggest challenge because there were no walls, nothing. It started from bare shell and we completed it in proper 21 days. So that was something, one of the best thing. And I was invited for the inauguration, and when I went there, the main experiential feeling which I wanted to create in that space was this, that it has to be calm, yet if someone is going to be there, they should feel the jazz of the space, or they should be pumped up to do the workout and everything. And as soon as the guests were entering, they were like, "Oh my God, this is such a positive space and it's looking so huge because of the glass and everything." Obviously, they didn't know it, but I was like, okay, it's successful. Like whatever I thought in my mind, it's incorporated in the design.
Excellent. Great. That's a brilliant story. Okay, please suggest some color combos that you like for bedrooms.
So for bedroom, I always go for a little warmer tones.
Hmm.
So it can be sage green, taupe,
Hmm.
or beige. And you can go, so I always follow the 60-30-10 rule. So you can always go for these in 60-30, and that 10% would be the linens and fabrics, which could be in leather finish,
Hmm.
burnt orange maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. And one more combination which I really love is if you want to go for pastels is powder blue, walnut wood, and morning glory.
Wow. That's pretty unique. That's, I mean, what are your favorite interior designing themes? Or what's your one best interior designing theme that you like?
The best one, which I would always personally prefer, is contemporary with a tinge of traditionalism.
Okay.
You know, you can have traditional pop-ups like the console and everything could be a bit traditional because it goes completely amazingly well with contemporary. And that is my personal favorite because I feel interiors should be such, or even exteriors, architecture should be such which should not go out of trend. Like after 30
Sure.
years, you should not feel outdated. So this is something which is evergreen and you can play a lot with this. But other than that, another personal would be Zen and minimalist.
Okay. Wonderful. Perfect.
Yeah. I would like to know how does your office like how does your office what is the vision of your office, yeah, or your firm? Like how do you what is the main vision?
So currently we have two verticals that we're running. One is the design firm, which has about 26 people at this point. I did make a reel like 2 days ago talking about me and my team. So there are about 26 people in the design firm. These are so we have everybody from HR to sales to accounts to designing and execution, obviously. And then the other vertical is content creation, where we have about 5 to 6 people, including me. So we did do our office tour through a video on YouTube about 2, 3 years ago. We can share that with you. But essentially, we are moving more towards content creation, and we are also creating products for architects and designers. So my ultimate goal is to get into B2B, business to business, and that's why I'm reaching out to a lot of people that so that we create a network, and we are creating a platform where architects and designers can come, and it will help them in managing their clients, managing their invoices, and placing orders. So that platform we're building today,
Oh,
and that's why we're reaching out to a lot of architects. So I'm getting more into, I mean, personally talking, I'm getting into B2B.
okay.
So that platform will launch very, very soon. But as of today, it's the design vertical and the content vertical that
Can
we're
I
doing.
ask you one more question? What do you
Please go ahead. I
think?
mean, as many as you want.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the current scenario of collaboration in India for our field?
I think it's not there only. There are like very, very few people who are doing it. I think couple of reasons for that. I feel number one is that many of us are so busy because it's a field that takes a lot.
Yeah,
You could be a doctor who is serving the society and you're doing a wonderful job, and hats off to doctors, and I really look up to them. But with architects and designers, the kind of time that we have to put in, you have to mostly work like 6 days and sometimes even 7 days. And there is no time when people would call us, and there would be issues at the site and so on. So it takes so much that we end up getting consumed and we don't even think about collaborating and looking out.
yeah,
And another reason is, I think, a couple of reasons. So one is that we are very busy. Second is we never would realize the value of collaborating if we are getting business anyway, right? So there is so much in this country, with commercial and residential and whatever else, that everybody will get some
right.
business, right? It's how you put your work out there, how you interact, how you talk to clients, how you put your personality out, which would decide your numbers of the business that you get. But then I think everybody is getting business, so you are busy, you are getting business anyway. And third, my third this is a little funny that I think also people are very competitive in this field, and people feel that so in any given city like Pune, Hyderabad, people are competing with each other without even knowing, who they are competing with. They basically know that if I have given a certain quotation, there would be somebody else who will probably give it at a cheaper price and take my account away.
Yeah,
And therefore, they're always scared as to, how do you collaborate in the first place? Because if you're fighting for the same bread, then how do we collaborate and work together? Because then, let's say for this initiative that we've had, if we started this initiative with our design firm, then many would end up thinking that, if they are,
Taking advantage of
let's say,
that
I
talent.
mean, you are in a different city, I'm in a different city, so it may not be a direct competition, but then people in Hyderabad would always end up thinking that if I give them my project tours and people reach out to them, they could pick up that project. They would be a direct clash. So how do you collaborate? So very few people who have collaborated, like Sarah from SRE Atelier, she had collaborated, but her collaboration, and she's a fantastic designer and very seasoned, and we all look up to her. What she has done is she has collaborated with different people to in different cities to teach them how her firm operates. Number one, how do you scale? And second is, big designers and architects get a lot of leads. They get a lot of inquiries every day, and perhaps this way, through a collaboration, they can pick up a project that is not in their city. Like today, I'm in Hyderabad. If I get a project in Pune because of our pages, I can always reach out to you and say that this is one project that we can either work together on, or you can just take this project, talk to the client, and do whatever, and see if you can close it.
Yeah.
So for this third one, you need to really have a big team, and you really need to have a lot of leads for you to think of a second, third, fourth, eighth, 10th city, right? Otherwise, you are so consumed within your own city and your own premise that you wouldn't really want to go to another
Right,
city.
right.
So I think those are the reasons. It's in a very bad shape actually. There is no collaboration at all. If you look at, exhibitions, conferences, there are hardly, we can count on our fingers the kind of exhibitions that we see. There are exhibitions where there are awards, there are exhibitions where a lot of people display their stuff, furniture, this and that. But again, it's collaborative in the way that they can work closely with architects and tell them about the products that they're making. But how does one interior designer talk to another interior designer? I have not seen many platforms for that. So that is missing, is what I
It's a
feel.
very sad reality actually that the market is breaking, basically how you told that people will quote something cheaper and take the
100%.
project away rather than thinking, ki, okay, let's come together and figure it out. But what I have seen right now is, so see, my firm is like just 3 year old, and at this stage, I am not thinking of expanding my firm a lot because even I need to manage it. So right now, I'm able to handle three architectural projects or four architectural. There are four architectural projects going on simultaneously, plus five interior projects. So the best thing I felt was to go in for collaboration, and that is why I asked you, because I faced this issue earlier when I was reaching out to people, because I had my vision very clear that if at this stage I give too much energy into the office, I would compromise somewhere in my design, and I didn't want to compromise on my design.
Yeah.
So the best way was to collaborate people who are at par, maybe, who can handle,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes some people can handle site, some can help me in this work, or whatever, however you collaborate. But I think
Right.
that is the key in today's time, don't you think so? Like, with increasing competition, if you, instead of cutting things and cutting each other's
100%.
uh, things, it's best to collaborate because everyone gets something, plus a beautiful product is coming out of it.
100%. 100%. And also look at this fact that many firms that you would see are either operated by a single owner or a couple of owners who are directly related.
Yeah,
It could be a
associates or
spouse,
something. Yeah.
could be siblings, or could be very close friends, but not people who were only acquaintances and they joined hands.
Thank you so much for inviting me for this podcast and giving me this platform to talk about my work. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you again.
So that was Miss Sakshi Oswal from the Designn Brew. From her recent project to her personal style of design, we got to talk about a lot. And I really hope that you got to pick up something worth remembering from the insightful conversation today. Do not forget to like and share this video, and also subscribe to this channel. You can follow us on Instagram as well for more design-based content. See you super soon.